and welcome to the He Doesn't Want a Podcast, sponsored by Learners Trust Driving School and Drumbo Park Racecourse. Today I am here with McCaul manager Bru McCaul. Bru, how are you keeping?
Not too bad, Gary. Thanks for having me on. One of the early guests.
Well, I'm trying to get the big boys in first, you know. McCaul, well-known club within the NAFL. So how's things been going for yourselves this season?
I was in Australia, so I sort of the opportunity just came up. I think at the back end, that maybe around December time, that they were looking for someone, and then I was sort of coming back, and then I was sort of interested in doing it. I wanted to get into coaching, and then I think because I'd give Higgy a hand, maybe was it the year before, the opportunity just came up. But it went reasonably well, considering, you know, obviously everything was cut short. But I think it was good experience for us boys, because the boys who gave me a hand, Dacky Bunting, Kieran McGordy, Fenty, mate Doc, probably all of our first stint in terms of coaching soccer. Them boys obviously have some Gaelic background and stuff like that. But now it was a good. I think we had 10 or 11 games. It was obviously a good thing. And then, to be honest, I know the season was cut short, but we had a couple of decent results. So hopefully we can maybe use that going into next year, a wee bit of momentum. You could have, I don't know if you use it the same, but do you have them Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday games to try and get the season caught up, do you, at the end of the year?
Yeah, you can, depending on how your cup runs go and how many league games you've left. One year you might have Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and then other years there's only 5 games left to play in April. We had ourselves only 4 games left in total, but I seen you had 9 games left to play. Is that right?
We had, and then in the past, like when I'd been playing at the Mark, it was like, see at that time of the year, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, people have work commitments and all, and it's a disaster. So to my point about us like being able to maintain a wee bit of momentum from next year, it probably ended at an alright time for us with a few injuries and things like that. So obviously you'd want to see out the season. We were still in the Clarence. It was raging. We got knocked out of the intermediate by Newington. But maybe if it had came a week earlier, would have still been in it. And then I don't know any idea what they're going to do with that. Are they going to replay those cup games, do you think, or because it's sort of a big competition? Or
I've no idea. In terms of the big cup competitions, there hasn't been. The AFA have been very quiet. I feel they haven't given any directions. The clubs, especially lower clubs, they may have been privately their senior clubs giving directions and stuff. But the amateur league, in terms of the league games, Clarence Cup, and any lower down cups, Copper and Corey, Walter Moore, etc., all seem to just be stopped for now. But they could all change.
Yeah. But no, so I was good, basically. Good, maybe 8 weeks, 10 weeks, or whatever, how many weeks we had to get some experience, and then maybe now look to go into next year with a wee bit of a buzz.
Yeah, but there's always high expectations at McCaul. That last time they won the league was in 2016, but I was looking at the league positions the last couple of years, and it's always top 3, top 4, 5. This season, you were sitting in 9th at the end of the year when it finished, but with 9 games left and with recent results, I'm sure you were thinking you could have pushed a lot higher there before the season ended shortly.
Yeah, well, we as the boys who were helping me out, we sort of talked about, like, you know, at that level, some teams like prioritize league cup. We were never going. It's not like you're going for like Europe or anything, or like there's prize money at stake. So we were like, do you prioritize the cup or do you prioritize the league or whatever? But we just decided we wanted to try to win every game. And that every time I looked at that league, I couldn't get my head around it, because like we played like, say, I don't know, 14 or 15 games, and then like the Shankill had played like 22, and then there's teams below you who'd played like 3 or 4 less. So the league was sort of false. I think where we were was probably around what the league actually did say was about 8th or 9th. But we would have liked to have pushed up the league, and then it would have maybe, well, we were sort of thinking they might send out a message that we're on the up, you know what I mean? We were able to turn it around in a short period of time. But I don't know. I think I think when you're probably getting into those later stages of the cups, and then you have a small enough squad, like you're sort of maybe moving towards prioritising the cup at that stage of the year. But we would have, like you say, there is a tradition there of being able to challenge, and I don't know, I can't put my finger on why it didn't go the way it did. Like when we came in, we were probably around ninth, and then it probably stayed there. I don't know why we were ninth in the beginning. Do you know what I mean? So hopefully it'll not be like that next year. We're going to have to make significant strides if we want to challenge, I think, and that might be like a recommitment from us as a, I don't know, staff and the players, because I don't know, is it the same as your level, Gary? You would have like teams who are winning the league, but they're barely dropping any points. Like we played Ballinhinch and they were top of the league, and we beat them, and they played like 11 and won 11. That's a bit of a humble brag here, but that's the level you have to be at, sort of, to try to be winning the league. You can't be dropping many points, and then the Star the same, and then East Belfast were in the same boats. They I think after 10 games or whatever way it was, they were all 100% record. Like, so we got to improve big time if we want to be challenging.
Yeah, basically, the way it's looking at the moment with Premier Division, the levels that Crumlin Star have set the last couple of years, and now East Belfast, Ballinhinch are starting to reach that. It seems to be you can't afford any slip-ups, really. And if you lose one or two games, you could be putting yourself at a league title contention.
Yeah, 100%. Like, a lot of the games become, cliched 6-pointers. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Since I've been at the MAC, like, I don't, like, the Star have been a great team, but even the games that we've played them, I can't really remember actually taking many points off them. It's not even so much, they're consistent against everyone else, and they've been really good against us as well. So hopefully we can get to that level, and then you bring in new players, and then you give players a fresh start, a good pre-season to get their ideas on board, and then because that's sort of a bit of a disaster. You come in midway through the season, as you know, probably as a coach, you're emphasising a load of things in pre-season what you want. We were sort of just doing it on the fly.
Yeah.
Coming in like a midweek training session, and you have players injured and stuff like that, so you can't really actually get your message across to the boy. Well, it's harder to get your message across. So, but hopefully with a good pre-season, whenever that is, we'll be able to take a step forward.
It's always hard as a coach at intermediate or junior level, where you do 2 training sessions a week, but realistically it's 2 hours a week that you have to work with those players. Whereas now we have an opportunity as coaches for a longer summer to maybe start to put things into place now. Once we're allowed to get back to some sort of physical training, you get more time with players, and that's when you could really then see the benefits of what you're trying to implement into the players.
100%. Like, I don't know, I'd be interested to get your perspective. Like, we had sort of talked about, do you go to an hour and a half a week, or an hour and a half on a Tuesday and a Thursday, and then, you jump in at the 3 hours contact time with the players, and then you're saying, is that too much for amateur players? Trying to find the right balance. Oh, sorry. Phone call. Right. I wonder if I put this on. Can I put that? No, I can't. That's all right. No, so the contact, I don't know if usings would be the same, but even an hour's tight, in the sense that you're trying to, like, what's more important? Is it getting them the actual coaching where there's a bit more stand around and getting your ideas across, or is it important that they get a good sweat and they're working really hard? Like, that's really the balance, I think. So we're sort of talked about maybe trying to get an extra half an hour on a Tuesday and Thursday to try and give us a wee bit more room to get our ideas across. Jesus Christ.
Well, what I find hardest is it's not even the 2 hours you have. Outside of those 2 hours a week, players don't really do anything themselves. So when you come to training on a Tuesday or Thursday, and some people may only be able to train once a week as well, which means you're only seeing them half the time. When you come to training Tuesday or Thursday, you're thinking, do I need to work on fitness? Do I need to work on technical skills? And then what I found myself doing when I have to coach, although I leave out the other guys now, I take a step back, I'm lazy now. I just stand back and watch now. So I've got 2 good coaches there. They do it for me. But what I find it when I take a session is you try and do both, but I would always try and implement a technical session this high intensity.
Yeah.
So the boys are working hard to get something out of it. But then when you talk about trying to work on your team shape, for example, if you want to work on set pieces, you may come to a Thursday night and want to do that, and two of your back four aren't there, or your two forwards aren't there, and then you're going, well, I can't really work on this. And then if you wanted to work in shape, you're expecting boys, especially when it comes to December time, to stand in position and move here, probably freezing, and you probably get away with that at senior clubs, but down in amateur league level, it's players tend to get bored really quickly. They just want to play five-a-side half the time.
No, 100%. We try to have all our sessions where technical sort of, the five-a-side games, just with certain focuses and stuff, like if we have an emphasis on that week, if we're trying to counter attack, it's like it would be, we try to make it as related to the game as much as possible. And then, but sometimes, like, I don't know if I would turn up with a great session, or not me, but the other coaches would be like, yeah, we'll have this in mind, and then 3 or 4 people let you down, and then they don't turn up, and that's basically it out the window, because it's for those players. Agree with you on the set play stuff. You stand around on a December night, it's not a good, but that's again not a good idea. But I think the pre-season is so important, and that's hopefully where we can maybe make a step forward. It's almost like it seems as if at every level and at every club the issues are the same. Everything you're saying there is the stuff that we would deal with as well. But I don't know, is it like a change? Like talking to some of the older boys in our club, and you'd be slightly older than me, guys, so I don't know if you could come in, but have players changed? Like, the players just how is it that like Tuesday and Thursday night is like nearly to get everyone there 2 nights a week is impossible? Like, I don't want to be at risk of sounding like an old man here, but like the couple of boys who would be on our committee and stuff, like they would say, like, I would have never missed football on a Tuesday and Thursday night. Do you know what I mean? And now it seems it's like to get 2 people or get people to 2 nights, it's the abnormal day.
Yeah, but I find I've been involved in junior football from I was a kid. Just going and watching games, being in and about the change room. My dad was first team manager for many moons ago, and we were successful back then because what I noticed was every single player turned up to training Tuesday or Thursday, and if you knew if you missed one session, you weren't in that squad. And having the players' dedication to do that gives a coach the freedom to work a wee bit more on things. Like I would say to our players all the time that you notice a trend. The most successful teams within the amateur leagues are teams that you can tell that their players are dedicated to train both twice a week. So at our level, the most successful team this season in the last couple of years has been Willowbank. And you can tell what they do is they work hard at the positioning, they would work hard at phases of play. They can do that because their players are dedicated to coming and training every session it's on. And before that, the likes of Green Island and Plunkett last year, the same thing. And Aquinas year before that, they say the same thing. All these teams are well organised, well drilled, because you can tell they've had the opportunity to work on it. And that can be a difference, really.
Yeah. Well, the thing that we found when we came in, right, we had a discussion as like, a philosophical discussion in terms of how we're going to come in. Like, do we come in all guns blazing and say, if you don't train, you don't play, and then you try to set that standard, but then you balance it up? Are you biting off your nose to spite your face? You're not playing your best players, and your results are cake, and then you don't create the buzz to get people to want to be the training. So what we consciously did was, look, we're going to try as best as we can to, the boys who are training, to get them playing. But sometimes players tied our hands a wee bit, and we had to play them. And we thought, right, if we can get a run of results, then that'll get more people and more people talking and wanting to be a part of it. But I suppose that we were in the infancy of that, trying to find out, but before the season was cut short. But it'll be interesting to see if we can string results together. Will our training numbers improve? I don't know if it's like I'm part of that generation, but I don't know if it's just the generational shift, because talking to other coaches and our managers and stuff, they seem to be faced with the same problem. Now, people, the opposite to that, I would say I've talked to a couple of boys at the Star, and their training numbers are brilliant. So there's no, like, it's not complicated. Like you say, there's a trend there. So come to training, your results will improve. If you don't, then you've made your bed, lie on it.
Yeah, more like that's the thing. Like, come on Saturday, if you lose a game on a Saturday, and the player that's most annoying in the change room is the player who hasn't bothered turning up that week to training, you're saying to him, well, you're not helping things. So you're not.
So 100%, and trying to think in relation to our situation, like our boys, like, see when they're on the pitch, like, never once have I thought like they're not giving 110%. But sometimes it's not one on the Saturday. Sometimes it's one of what you've done during the week. And if you're not as fit or is not as like as sharp as you need to be, you don't make you make bad decisions and stuff like that, and that impacts you on the Saturday. I would never ever question our boys' commitment in terms of when they get on the pitch. I'm sure you're the same. It's just commitment to the whole thing, like, probably taking care of yourself away from football. Not like professional players, but like maybe do one extra session or a wee bit of recovery. But that's hopefully something that we can try to get into our boys. It's a shift in mindset, because some of our players are coming to the end of their primes and stuff like that, and if they want to win, then we're going to need to
do it. So you coming in this year, you come in after the start of the season. The season's been finished early, so you can almost use it then as that was a trial period to try things. Now you can actually start to then look at the different things you want to implement next year. So going into next year, this year you implied a just try and win every game mentality, whereas next season, will you be trying to focus mainly on the league, or would it be certain cup competitions you'll have your eye on?
Be interested. Honestly, I'd be interested to see what you think as well, because, like, I think the mindset that we would probably adopt is, if we found ourselves in a position where we were never, as a coaching staff, we were never in a position to be able to, like, actually drop players or rotate the squad, because the squad was too small. I think we need to get players in, and then in me, I would never want to give off the idea that certain things are less meaningful than others, because I've been in a position as a player where I've been part of the team that plays in the League Cup, and you're knocking your pan in. So to give off that idea to certain players, because that's some people's opportunity to play, I think ideally you're judged on how you do in the league, and maybe a cup, a run in a cup or whatever. But the smart thing probably to do would be to prioritize, like, certain competitions and the league, and then maybe rotate your squad in other competitions. But we have to be able to be in a position, like, with the strength of a squad, to be able to do that. I don't think we are at the minute, because we need a few bodies in. But league will be a big push for us, I think. Are you the same, or is there one cup that you maybe would be more prestigious, or would be something that you would have your eye on?
It's hard, because what you find is, because we only play on a Saturday up until you get to April, you can't come on a Saturday after, if they have worked hard in training that week, and say, we're not worried about this cup, lads. Go on out there and do whatever you just want. Really, you can't ever say that as a coach. You want to win every game, no matter what. What I found, I've now been part of first team management for 6 years now. So 3 or 4 years ago, we were knocked out of 2 cups early.
Yeah,
and it worked out well for us in terms of the league. We're come the end of the season, we were competing at the top of the league, and with about 4 games ago, we could have got promoted, and we fell short. The next season, we have 3 cup competitions, which we would be looking to do well in as a team in 2A, which would be the Junior Shield, the Junior Cup, and then our League Cup is the Cochrane and Corey. That year, we got to the quarter final of all 3. And by March, out of 22 league games, we had only played 5 league games halfway through March, because you're playing Saturdays all the way through. So Junior Cup and Junior Shield, you're playing 5 rounds to get that stage. Then when we came into April, and we had to play Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, we then had a cup semi-final, and the boys were just busted. We have a small squad, similar to yourselves. It's it's hard to fight in all fronts unless you've got a large squad or a good youth setup with boys
Yeah,
who can step up in. Once you get to Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, it's very hard to get teams out on the pitch in league
yeah,
games, and especially Premier Division games. It can always be tough. So
yeah,
it's one of them things where you want to win every game, but there are certain cups that you're not that worried about. If you go out of it, then you're
yeah.
thinking that could be a blessing in disguise, really. So it's a hard one to call.
I know. Like, I don't want to speak out of turn, but I know, like, up at Belfast Celtic, like, they were. I think they were in a load of cup games, and then they had a load of games to catch up on. And then, like you say, like, see that Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday business. That's like, it's almost like a mini season in itself. And probably when you're in it and you're going for it, or you're in competition with another team, you're probably just running on sheer adrenaline, really. And it's probably it is almost like winning the league through attrition. Like, teams fall away with injuries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I know, like, the standard in our league is Crumlin Star for the last couple of years. Like, every competition they're getting into, I know that they're trying to win. So why can't we? Why can't we win every competition? But why can't we approach every game that we're trying to win it?
Yeah.
And that's what we'll do. Some of the cup competitions, they start a wee bit later, and then you have so you might have an idea of going, right, I want to have try to get a good run in the Steel and Sons or whatever, and then you're out early doors, so that may change your approach to say, I don't know, I could be wrong here, like, but is there competition? Is the Clarence start late, or does it start later?
Clarence starts around the end of December, whereas the Border Cup's played in August. So the Border Cup's pretty much done by the time the Clarence Cup's on.
Yeah, and the Steel and Sons is gone. So, like, if you don't find success in them early ones, then maybe that may change your mindset going into it. But I would be reluctant to be like, let's prioritize this. I think it just sends a wrong message to the players, and you sort of insinuated. Do you agree with that? Like,
Yeah, but one thing we found we tried to do was when we did have floodlights up at Donegal Celtic's pitch was we were trying to encourage teams to play us under the floodlights come
yeah,
November, December time.
yeah,
But that many teams were willing to. You may find
uh,
that other teams in the same position who usually struggle at the end of the year, they might go to yourselves in November,
yeah.
December. It could be something you could try, but it is hard to get amateur teams to come out and play on a Tuesday or Thursday night in November.
It's almost, it's like you need teams who are actually in the same situation as you, like who are probably pushing for the league, because then they're recognizing what it means at the end of the year. Where if you have teams midweek who are mid-table, not really playing for anything, then they're just going to be, nah, screw that, I'm just going to play on a
Yeah,
Saturday. Like,
exactly. So we know where you are at now and what you're doing now. For anybody listening out there who doesn't know you, give us a bit of background about how you ended up where you are now with the Immaculata.
So when I was grew up basically playing at Plunkett for a load of years, and then it's just a quick backstory. Played at Plunkett, then ended up joining like a team, Sport and Leisure / Holy Trinity. It was I went and played in the Down in Connor, those, what do you call it, the Foyle Cup, yeah.
Yeah.
And ended up joining. They asked me to join, went and played there, and then sort of played a wee bit at schoolboys international team, and then I got a chance to go over to England, played for Plymouth. It didn't work out. Came back, went to the Blues for 3 or 4 years, and then went to so I had a wee loan spell at Glenavon, then went back to Glenavon. Went to Ballymena, and then I played at Carrick reluctantly. So
Right.
uh,
And then
that's like the cliff notes of like what it the career background. No,
after
I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but I like to give you like at that stage, like I had really just sort of fell out of love with it. So I don't mean reluctantly because it was Carrick. It was just at that stage I didn't want to play, and I probably shouldn't have, continued to play at that try to play at that level, because it just became like a job. So when it did start to feel like that, I should have just not went, and I nearly didn't. Only Gary Havern, like he was the Carrick manager, like literally the deadline. They basically, he was like, just come on, play or whatever, blah blah blah, try. And the only reason I sort of went was because my mate Aaron was there, and I was like, if he hadn't have been there, not that he was always there training anyway, but he's changed. But yeah, I probably wouldn't have went, and in retrospect, I probably shouldn't have.
Was there anything in particular that made you fall out of love with playing, or was one moment, or was it just a prolonged period of?
I was like, probably see. Going back to the schoolboys international times, like see at that, like I don't know if it's still the same, but they take you away from your club environment, so you're constantly with Emmons, and then you're playing like exhibition / friendly matches on Saturdays, so you lose all that, and then it just became super serious for so long that it became like a job. Do you know what I mean? It sucked the enjoyment out of it. Obviously, you have like lots of disappointments along the way, and then probably like I'm trying to think in retrospect, like would they have things of like, you know, like when you've trained all week and you don't get it, you don't play and stuff like that, or just getting fed up with that sort of sort of getting fed up with that probably contributed to it. But then like I never played the play for money or anything like that. And when I was at Linfield, they earned decent enough money, like, but nowhere near like what some of the other boys were earning. And then I was happy to not play. For a carry, like it was £100 a week or something like that there. Like, so I actually just there was actually I forget who he was. The new manager came in, the Irish fella. After about 2 weeks, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, I just said, look, this was like in the middle of December, one night of training. I just pulled up. I was like, why am I in here? I don't like. The truth is, like, I got to the point where I didn't even care if we were winning or losing, because I was sort of injured and stuff like that there. I didn't really feel part of it. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go and speak to him here. Just went and said to him, look, here, I'm done. And that was it. Went and joined the MAC. And then you just sort of try to find, like, you're playing, like, it's a bit of crack, and you're playing with people. It's a bit of crack, but you're also trying to win, and it's a good level. Like, some players who played Irish League at that level, the games are, they mean a lot and stuff like that. So I just take a step back and away from the element of like this is no longer a job feeling. They actually get back to enjoying football. Like, bit deep.
No, here fair play to you, because what they tend to find a lot is people make to say that they're playing Irish Premier Division and it's a bit too tough for them. They might not be over the seriousness of it, and they think I'll drop down to intermediate football. There's still levels of intermediate football paying a good wage, and people will just go around, pick up their wages. Whereas you went to an amateur league club where you probably had to pay subs every week. So it's a big change. But it goes to show that you're loving a game as well, just going back to your roots. You had a load of friends at Macalata when you first joined as well, I take it?
Yeah, no, well, I was friends with hockey, and then, like, I didn't want to drop down too far, to be honest. I could have probably went to Plunkett, but I don't know where they would have been, Gary. They would probably been junior football then.
Yeah.
Maybe 2B or something. Did they have a couple of runs? Like, did they go from 2B and then your league and then into 1C or something? So I didn't want. The truth is, I didn't want to go down that far, and then I didn't want to play in the championship, the Irish League, the championship. I know, like, fair play to some boys, like it means a lot to them, but I didn't want to, in the sense that, like, I was in the Irish League and it wasn't satisfying me. So why would I want to drop down to the Champions League or the championship? I just knew it wouldn't have. And then I, like, I'm not going to go around like chasing £50 a week from someone, like, just to get £50 a week.
Yeah.
Some people like, it's their, it contributes to their livelihood. And at that time, like, I probably could have done with the money, but it wasn't worth it to, like, turn up 2 nights a week, not enjoy it, and, move on and be like, oh, it's, in truth, sort of not really, like, care by the end. You know what I mean? I think, and, like, ever since, like, I've never, ever, ever once regretted going, why did I, like, step away from the Irish League or anything like that? Never.
Was that got you into coaching? You're still very young to be coaching as well. Was that what got you into coaching, stepping away from the game and wanting to find the love for it again?
I think I'd always loved, like, the element, like, it probably comes, like, pains me to say it, like when I was in England, and I don't like to like bring that sort of stuff up, but just the impact it had on me being able to like I've had like I don't know if you've came across, but there's very few coaches that I've ever came across where I've been like, wow, like I can actually see what they're doing is working. I can see that reappearing in the match, and that happened when I was in England, and it sort of like took me off. It took me back a bit. It was like actually made me realize there is so much value in coaching. So I think even from when I was 17, 18, 19, when I was over in England, that was probably where I would have always knew that I would have wanted to do it. Like, I'm nowhere near where I want to be in terms of like my badges and stuff like that. There, I need to get a lot of those. But I honestly do love the coaching aspect of it. Like being on the line certain times is just as enjoyable for me, especially when you've good people around you that like actually try to see if you can have like a positive impact on the game. And I think like coaches' impact is probably very limited because it's a player's game. Like, and I would never try to think, oh yeah, because we did that, like that's why we won. Like, but I do love that sort of, trying to like make the players see the value in some of the things that you do. And yeah, probably came from a positive experience in England with some good coaches.
You can still see, even you might not necessarily see things in games implement right away, but you can always look at coaching. It's more of a longer process, maybe over a period of time, where you can see once you get a full year next year, you might be able to see at the end of the season, do you know what, that individual improved, this team
Yeah,
improved. That's where you get your joy as a coach. It might not be somebody scoring a goal on a Saturday, but players get that joy.
yeah,
We get it over a longer period of time, I always feel.
yeah, 100%. Or else you don't, and then you're an onion. Do you know what I mean? Like that's like you live and die by the players. Like you can come up with all the best ideas in the world, and if they don't apply them, maybe that's on you. But sometimes it's like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Like in terms of what the players can give you, and that probably is the hard part about it, is that you actually are powerless in a way, because they step on the pitch, you can only give them so much instructions. I feel anyway, but that's hopefully what I'll try to learn is like what works for the individual players, how do you get across to them, and then how that apply that to the team dynamics.
Did you find any difficulty coming from being a player in the dressing room at Magalada to being the guy on the sideline?
I don't know, but I suppose probably like that wee period with Higgy, being his quote unquote number two, like it probably prepared me all right for that. And then I don't know if the boys would have like maybe like a respect for me because of maybe played in the Irish League. Does that hold some value? That's probably something you could ask them. So I'm not just some like random person, who's came in or whatever. So maybe that helped, but I don't think like I have a lot to learn in terms of like the actual managing side. Don't mind, like I can put on coaching sessions and stuff like that, but it'll probably be a while before I'm fully comfortable with myself, making big decisions and leaving people out. And I don't know, I sort of try to pride myself on not telling the players lies, because that's probably something that has happened to me a lot, like, or lots of players it happens to. Managers just give you bull crap excuses about, oh, you're not playing, blah blah blah, I was going to play you next week, blah, just tell you lies. So I just try to set a precedent where I'll just don't tell them lies, and hopefully that'll stand me in good stead.
Yeah, with amateur players, they're giving up their personal time and they're paying money into the club to normally play as well. So as long as you're honest with them, you usually get as good back from the players as what you get them.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's the thing, is it can work both ways. It can sort of work in retrospect. I think like you're honest with them afterwards and tell them you made a mistake. Like I've done that already this year, where I've went to a certain player, like, I made a mistake not playing you, and it wasn't a case of like just blowing smoke up their arse. It was that, and then like went and he responded well to that. Acknowledging that you do, like, I'm sure you've made a million mistakes, and I'll make a million mistakes. Like, just part and parcel of it, and that's the worst part about Saturday night, is going home and kicking yourself when you know you've made that mistake.
Yeah, but it's a hard thing as well if you're bringing home with you, especially when it comes to an issue with a player. You know, it's a hard conversation. You can sometimes be sitting at nights and you're not really clued into watching TV with your missus, or
Uh,
when you're lying in bed at night, you're still. That's what players don't have to do. That's what coaches have to do to bring it home with us.
100%. And then there, how do you find like the dynamics with, like, these are obviously like really tight knit. Do you find it difficult, like, to make the ruthless decisions or the Fergie like decisions, like, because you are so friendly with them? Do you know what I mean?
My style I've always tried to adopt is I've always been honest with players as well, that as much as I can be, but I'll always try and it's hard to be. You're still young and you still are friends with these guys. It's hard to be a friend as well as manager.
Yeah.
I try to separate it as best I can. It is really difficult, but what then you'll find is if it's a friend and you're saying to them, "Look, I'm dropping you," they're looking at you going, "You're my mate. You shouldn't be doing this." It can be hard that way, but I think now it was harder to start. My first season was really difficult, and I was very lucky. I had a guy, John McGrath, who'd been managing Ford for years before I got the first team, who was with me, who mentored me. We were a joint management team, but without John there, then it would have been really difficult, because then people knew it wasn't just me making the decision. I may have been bringing the decision across, but John was there also. But it can be difficult, especially when you can tell how much effort people put in to training sessions, and you know their commitment to the club, and then you're going over and you're making that decision and then drop them on a Saturday.
Yeah, 100, and it's like, going back to what I said, like, probably part of why I started to resent it and playing was that element of, like, you knock your pan in during the week and then you don't play, or you play like, here go on there for the last 10 minutes or something. You're just like, that equally is just as difficult probably for amateur footballers to accept, because they're not even being paid for it. Do you know what I mean? At least, like, there's loads of boys in the Irish League who are happy just to pick up a wage packet and be injured, and like, be injured, like, be hurt, not injured, and just not play and stuff like that. There, like, that's just, I'm sure you know that yourself. Like, it's just a reality. So for the amateur boys, it hurts even more when you don't play them. Do you know what I mean? Now, I'm sort of played with them, but them boys would, like, a lot of them boys are like really tight knit, like they grew up down the road together. So I am like an up the roader to them, and so I sort of semi already have that, like, maybe like a wee bit of distance created, that I'm not, like, they're not my best mates. Do you know what I mean? Like, probably, I don't know if it's for you, like, a lot of them would be really close to you, but that maybe helps a wee bit.
Thankfully, I'm old enough now that a lot of my close friends are all retired. So I'm one of the older ones now in the change room, whereas before I actually wasn't. But it is different now, so it is.
You can edit that out about you being old.
No, I'll own it. I'll own it. Mate, we'll move on to a couple more questions just before we finish. So, talking about your career in general, your playing career, who's the best player you ever played with?
I know who. I'm not sure if he's like the best player I've ever. Like, the player that I most enjoyed playing. Actually, does Galte? Do you know Galte? Does he listen to this? You know?
I don't know. I hope he does.
Because if I don't say him, he'll probably ring me tomorrow and be like, "Why did you not say I was the best player you played with? You blah 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 blah." But the player that I really loved and playing with and like watching would have been like wee Ribs. Used to play it. I used to play with at Linfield, Robert Garrett.
Yeah.
I just thought, like, my sort of player and the sort of player that I like, someone gets on the ball and passes it forward and gets about and really tenacious and like a winner, like really wants to win. So, sorry, just getting like a notification there. Yeah, so I would say him, but let's just say Gaulty then, for
just to keep him happy.
For an easy.
In terms of your moments in football, what was your best moment in football?
Oh, Jesus. I don't know, to be honest, Gary. Like, I would say to my mate hockey, I feel like I'm a bit punch drunk. Like, playing centre back for the Mac, I've took too many blows to the head. So I can't even really think of like a defining moment. but probably like being a part of those teams at Linfield were like the won a couple of doubles and stuff like that. Like I didn't make massive contributions to that, but probably a period of time rather than an actual moment. Just probably being at Linfield and around those, those dressing rooms, loads of boys like serial winners and like unbelievable crack. So probably my time at Linfield, I would say, would have been, if you can clarify or if you can classify that as a moment, I would say.
Yeah, period of time, yeah, definitely. And what would be your worst moment you've had in football?
Probably my worst moment is playing for Linfield, and the boys never let me forget it. We were playing a Irish Cup match. I don't know if you remember it. It was like we played Dunmurry Rack at Windsor,
Yeah.
and Big Davey stuck me on, and I don't know, maybe like, I don't know if there was an injury or something like that in the first half. I can't even remember but then he took me, so he double subbed me, so that was probably all time low. But yeah, probably that, I would say.
Is that your Emmanuel Abuye moment?
Scunthorpe.
Okay, mate. I'm going to try something new here just at the end. What I'm going to do is name players from your first team squad at Magalata. Shout out the names and just give me your first thoughts on the player. It can be a word, it can be a couple of sentences. You can use it to wind them up a wee bit, or you can give them some positivity going forward. So first of all, Podrick Adams.
Podrick Adams, I'll probably use this as an opportunity to be positive about him. I would say knocks his pan in, never misses training, like the epitome of a player that you want in your team. And then his negative would be, I would say, he's a moaner, and that's about it. But not in a bad way, just never should, just always gurning.
Thanks, Simone. Collie O'Riordan.
One word probably would be legend. And that would be in relation to his time at the club, won so many trophies, and if you probably look at our teammates thing, he's probably the one that everyone reveres the most. Time played there. Everyone references him as the best player that they've played with at the club, so legend.
Sean McGovern.
Sean McGovern, I would say, well, trying to think of positives and negatives. Positives, again, another club legend. Been through all the successes, a winner. And then negatives, I would say, not too many negatives about him. You know what? I'm just thinking here. I don't even know how to wind them up because I don't know them well enough because I haven't grew up with them and stuff like that. I'll try to be positive about it.
Fair enough. Daniel Largy.
Madman, but a winner. Would say would do anything to win. And then negative is that I'll just give you an insight that this year we were playing. I can't remember who we were playing. It's like he was playing at the back, and he was like, Daniel, don't go for every ball. You have an easy day, or don't go for it. And he just wants to go for every ball. So just a true competitor and a winner. So, but he's also a madman. So good lad.
Kevin Slane.
Kevin Slane. Probably one of the things where he was sort of, in a way, would be referred to mostly have been a seconds player, and then he made the jump up, and he would have played lots of first team games, but he's come in, he's played a lot of games for us. So great lad in the Podrick Adams mold of like never misses training, knocks his pan in, people that you want around the team. Again, I don't know them well enough to be slagging them or anything like that. So sorry about that, mate.
Okay, well, I've left the last one for last, the best one, sorry. James Hockey.
James Hockey. Where to start? Well, first off, like a proper good mate. My signing of the season, had to use my influence as a friend to get him to come down, back down to the Mac. But great player, great lad. What else could I say about him? Oh yeah, if I say anything more, I'll be in trouble here because he's always the teacher's pet on the teammates thing because me and him are mates so apart. So I'll probably have to just shut up about him, to be honest.
Mate, the last thing I want to ask you, just the podcast is called He Doesn't Want It, after something we hear most Saturdays on a football pitch. I don't know if you like or hate the saying. Is there any sayings in football that you hear, especially in local football, that you either love or hate to hear on a Saturday?
the one that I think is the best one, because it's the ultimate insult, is he give you it, because like how could you say anything more disrespectful to a player than he just basically saying he's cake, you know what I mean? So that's probably my favorite. I just wouldn't like someone saying it about me.
You probably got it that day when you're playing against the Murray Rack. Just
Mate, listen, it doesn't mean that it wasn't warranted to be taken off again, but it was a low moment.
Mate, thank you very much for giving up your time. Really appreciate it.
No problem.
And best of luck next year. Hope everything goes well for you, and I'll be following your results anyway. Thank you very much for Bru McCaul giving up his time, and thank you to our sponsors, Learners Rush Driving School and Jumbo Park Racecourse. We'll be back next week with another episode of He Doesn't Want a Podcast. Thank you.